happened to the fish?
His blood slows down and he'll thaw out when it thaws out.
Man.
If it doesn't stay froze too long. Usually it doesn't freeze solid.
How's Belle outside?
She got water and went pee-pee.
Oh.
It's snowing just a little bit. You ready to go in? Tell them to let you in. You pee-pee? Pee-pee? Okay, y'all, I am going to grab a basket. I think I must have been drying some parsley here. I'm just going to leave this on the table. My goal is not parsley today. My goal is to get some more mushroom. Okay. Okay, so yesterday, my husband and I were taking a walk just out behind our home. And we have some forest behind our home and, you know, the homes where we live. And we're just going to cut through the garden here, y'all. I hope my fish is alive. This pond froze over for quite a while, and I hadn't seen him come up, but maybe he's just still cold. But anyway, that's not why we're here. We're crossing through the garden and going out the back door. But we were just walking, and I always keep an eye out for just anything growing that's edible. I keep an eye out for anything growing that is edible, and so that is tip number one for just being food prepared, food ready, is learn to forage. Learn to forage. And what I mean by foraging is when you're out in an environment, I'm going to flip this camera around. I'm going to show you what I mean. So obviously you see I threw some pumpkins back here. I call it pumpkin chunking, but I throw them back here for the wildlife. But when you're just out and you're in like a wooded area or the local park or whatnot, you should be able to look and identify something that is edible. And that comes by simply researching and learning. So if we're looking out here, we see leaves, obviously the pumpkins that I threw away. If the pumpkins weren't here, there would just be leaves, and then there's something green right there. Let's go up and see what that is. This is actually the first wild edible that I learned to forage, and I learned it from my great-grandma because these grow in all of our yards all across the United States of America. This right here is wild onion. And you can tell wild onion or allium by simply smelling it. And if it smells like onion, it is onion. If it doesn't smell like onion, it is not onion. You have to be careful because if it doesn't smell like onion and you eat it, you can get sick. But if it smells like onion, it is onion. It's a type of wild onion or wild garlic, but it's going to be in the allium family. This is something you can eat. This is something you can feed your family. Now, obviously, it's not something that, you know, you can just eat wild onions, you know, and survive endlessly. But it's something to put in your belly, keep you out of a food line, or something to season some food you already have. Say you have some dry beans stored up. Now you got some onion. Onion grows all over the United States. It's easy to learn about. There are other wild edibles. You just have to research. You can do a simple Google search of wild edibles in whatever state you're in, and they'll pop up. You can join groups that teach you how to go out and forage for wild edibles. And the second thing I recommend you learning how to forage is, as part of foraging, is wild mushrooms. Now you have to be careful with these because many of pros have learned, thought they had one thing, but they didn't. And it can be deadly if you don't know what you're doing. I personally know about less than a handful, about 4 types of mushrooms that I would be comfortable with eating. I've tried 2 of them because they're so easy to identify, and I'll put them on the screen here. Those 2 are so easy to identify. But these others I just learned of since I've been living here in my new state, and they're called oyster mushrooms, and these are winter oyster that you're about to see me forage. And these are literally on the backside of my neighbor's property, but I asked him permission. The Lord actually provided. The mailman had put some mail in my mailbox that was his, and I said, well, I'm gonna take this opportunity to go ask him about these mushrooms on this log, because people actually inoculate logs to grow these mushrooms. And these mushrooms, if you've been in Whole Foods, you've seen oyster mushrooms. If you've been in any type of kind of gourmet or farm to table restaurant, you've seen oyster mushrooms. So learning to identify mycelium mushrooms, that's something else, because they are actually more hardy and can be used in soups and stocks, dehydrated. And some of them, like the morel, which I'll put back on the screen, that type of mushroom, when you fry it up, it's kind of like a nice piece of fried chicken. Now these mushrooms I'm about to forage, I am not going to eat. I'm drying them for decoration. So this is just a down log. I'm watching for snakes because they like to hang out in this stuff right here. I should have a stick, but I don't. But you can see there's a ton of mushrooms on here. I actually joined a mushroom group as well to help me identify these mushrooms. Because I'm new at it. But like I said, I'm not eating these. I'm just getting them for decor purposes. But let me sit you down, and I'm going to harvest a few mushrooms. Y'all, I got some beautiful specimens here. Let me see if you can see that. I'll show you more when we get back to the house. Okay, here we go. I'm just walking along here, and I've stumbled upon some mushrooms that are popping up in the floor. And you can touch mushrooms, you just don't want to eat what you don't know what it is. But I'm going to get some pictures of these because I have no idea of what they are, and submit them to my local mushroom group, and I'll learn what these guys are. Okay, now just like I said, because I don't want you to think I just go out and pick stuff and eat it. Though the mushrooms I'm collecting today are for decorative use. I'm drying them, and I'm making some just some decorative craft projects. So I don't want you, again, I'm not eating the ones that I just found. I have a positive ID on the first ones I picked, but the second ones I picked were just a mushroom. And generally you can touch mushrooms. Oh, deer do come back here. That's what's been eating. Show you some deer poop, like you want to see that. But right there, the deer have been enjoying the pumpkins I threw out. That's good, because I threw them back here for the deer. But like I said, the mushrooms that none of them I'm eating. The first ones I picked I know are edible. The other ones, I don't know what they are, but I collected some samples to share with the mushroom group so that I can learn something new. And I know some of you will say, I don't like outdoors like that. I don't go outdoors. I don't want to walk outdoors. I don't want to hike. But if you're not outdoors, you will never learn things. Standing right here, and I'm looking right here is more onion. Right there at my feet. There's some. And it's winter, but there's stuff to eat. Event of a food shortage or a food crisis, you have to know what is outside. And the only way you're going to know what's outside is to go outside. So I would say you're going to have to commit to going outside. You don't have to like it. A lot of people don't like bugs. My husband is one of them. He doesn't like insects, he says. But you have to commit to going outside and learning about this great big world that God created. He created us from the dirt of the earth, and then he placed us in a garden. So find that that inner I'm going to say that inner drive, inner azimuth, inner direction that lets you know, hey, you do need to go outside. Just going outside and getting 10 minutes of sunlight on your face actually aids in depression. Just getting outside and getting 10 minutes of sunlight on your face. We are made to be outside. So if that's a fear of yours or a phobia or just something you don't like to do, it's probably something you're going to have to just work on. You know, we're all a work in progress. But definitely to learn how to forage, learn how to wildcraft, learn how to identify mushrooms and all the different wild edibles, you're going to have to get outside. You're going to have to get with a group. This post-COVID world, it's easy to isolate. It's easy to be like the team of me, but a team of me in a food shortage, you're going to need some people with you, helping you, looking out for you, teaching you now before there is, any food shortage. And then finally, once you learn how to forage, once you're faithful to that journey, teach your kids, pass it down. My kids have been foraging since they were little. I taught them onion because it's the easiest thing to find. If it smells like onion, it's allium. If it don't smell like onion, it is not an onion, and don't eat it. So teach your kids, pass it down. That way, even if our generation doesn't experience some sort of food shortage, you don't want your kids to experience it and be depending like on the government or somebody else to feed them. We should be able to feed ourselves with our own two hands. With our own two hands. We should not have to stand in food lines relying on somebody. So my number one tip for being prepared for a food shortage or food scarcity is learn how to forage, learn how to wildcraft. Okay, my second tip for in the event you're food insecure, you don't know what to do. I'll tell you what to do. You learn now. So the second thing that I hear people say when I tell them I garden, I have kale growing out here right now. In the winter, I've done nothing to it but plant it and left it. I haven't watered it. You see my hoses? They're not connected. I winterized the spigots downstairs. I've just let it rain. If they live, they live. If they didn't, they didn't. But learn how to garden. I'm not saying learn how to garden on the scale I'm gardening or somebody else or whoever your favorite YouTuber is. But I'm saying learn how to garden on a scale that's right for you. Nowadays, there are so many options for gardening and so many ways to make gardening easy. One of those ways is if you have the money to invest in a garden, invest in what makes sense for you. These raised planters, I got these almost 3 years ago from Walmart. I got them at this time when everything from last year they find it's back stock, they dig somewhere, they find it. It might even be outside. These didn't even have the label to scan on them. They actually had to make me labels, and I wound up paying, I think these are like, now I know they're like 89 bucks a piece, and these back ones are 100 something a piece. I paid like $24 a piece for these little things here. But you don't even have to start in something like that. You can start in something as small as this right here, or you can just get a bag of garden soil, mix it with your soil, put some seeds in it, and see what happens. I'm saying all this to say, be encouraged. I want to encourage you to start. You won't learn how to garden. You won't learn that you don't have, a killer thumb, a brown thumb, a black thumb. Nobody has a green thumb. If your thumb is green, you need to go to the urgent care. I'm just saying, there's something not right there. But But if you're not comfortable with gardening, if you're a little fearful, if gardening makes you a little anxious because you think you're going to kill things, guess what? You are. Things are going to die. Plants are fragile. Plants have attitudes sometimes. They're like people. But the more that you garden, the more seeds that you try, then you learn, okay, well, that didn't, look at this. This is a collard green. I had actual collard greens out here. I harvested them. But this is a good example of one that didn't quite take off. I had this for years. I could not grow collard greens until I tried this raised bed method and I finally grew collard greens. Kale. I wasn't good at kale. I just kept trying it. I just kept replanting it in different areas. This is arugula. I haven't even eaten it because guess what? I planted it and I realized this is a little too spicy, so I ain't even messing with it. But if you'll notice, it grows like a weed. So this is telling you this grows wild somewhere, as most plants do. But what I'm saying is the only way that you're going to become a gardener is by starting. So to start, I recommend just starting where your budget will allow. If you are scared that you're going to not be able to purchase anything, then when your birthday comes and people are like, "Ooh, I don't know what to get you for your birthday," say, "Oh, could you buy me some seeds?" Seeds come in a variety of forms, from this $2 marigold that I actually spent 25 cents on because I waited till the end of the season at Dollar General when they marked this stuff down, and I was able to get this for 25 cents instead of the $2 it normally is. But this is a lot of seed. This is a lot of seed. They're going out, and I guarantee you I'll have marigold plants popping up. But this is a lot of seed for you to practice on for $2. Maybe you just start small with something like marigold and you say, "Well, I can't eat marigold." Yes, you can. Marigolds are 100% edible and they're good in salads. Sometimes they have a little bit of a earthy taste, sometimes a little peppery. But that's also something, getting outside of your comfort zone with what you normally eat, because maybe what you can really grow is not what you would normally eat. A good example as seeds as gifts. My husband was looking at my seed collection, which is kind of rough. I didn't bring it out here, but he planned and he purchased me this lovely, I don't even know where he got it from, but this lovely seed box with seeds already saved in it. This seed right here is enough seed to plant a big garden or to keep planting a little garden for a couple of years, depending on what you want to do. This time of year, you'll start seeing seed popping up everywhere. From Dollar General to Amazon to in the grocery store, they'll have seed packets. If you see something you want to try it. Just try it. The first year is all about trial and error. As you continue, you research, you watch YouTubers, and you get better and better. I watch Marlene's Home and Garden a lot, and she shows things that I'm just like, "Oh my goodness, sis, wow, I didn't know that," or "I didn't know this." And I've been gardening for a long time, so there's always something to learn, just like life with gardening. But just start with some seed, get you some, put it in the ground. Go to the local nursery, go early. I'm saying this and I'm not trying to be funny, but people with some age on them, elderly people, have a lot of wisdom. If they're in there picking flowers, mulling around, they have been able to keep something alive. Ask them some questions, strike up a conversation, and I have found that people are honestly interested and genuine about helping you if you're genuine about engaging them in conversation and with question and asking for their wisdom. I've honestly said, "Hey, ma'am, could you please give me some wisdom on how to grow this?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I grew it like this, my mom grew it like that, and her mom grew it like this." This is going back 3 generations, and this woman's looking like she's in her 70s. So I'm gaining valuable information just through conversation. Okay, from my garage, which needs organization, my third and final tip for a food insecurity scenario, or not being reliant on somebody else feeding you in the event that food is scarce, is once you start gardening, save your seed. So once you start gardening, it is important to save seed. Even if it's just a little bit, I save seed. These seeds, on the package, they'll have an expiration date or something. But honestly, you can buy seeds at an estate sale from the 60s, put some water on them, and a lot of them will still work because there's life in the seed. That's how God intended it. So they're going to have some life. Now, I'm not saying dry your stuff out and be reckless, but save your seed. That way you can continue to grow food year after year after year. And you can even pass it down to your children or somebody else so that they can begin to learn and grow food themselves. Just this right here is something that would cut down on a lot of food insecurity in our country if everybody just had a small garden. But hey, we're just talking about us, and we're just talking about being prepared for what could possibly happen. Those are my 3 tips, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, hit the like button. Please subscribe if you liked it. There'll be more content coming that's similar to this, and also we travel. Until next time, the Lord bless and keep you, and make his face shine upon you. See you later.